to debunk fitness fallacies. This is an important topic. Fallacies run rampant within the fitness world. So I'm going to share with you today some of the common fitness fallacies that I see and explain to you why I believe they're fallacies and perhaps some things that you can do instead of those things to help you get to your goals. So let me make sure that I'm live. Last time I did this a few minutes ago, I messed it up and I accidentally shut down my whole live and then had to redo it. So let's make sure that...
This is the Google Pixel 9.
That was the Google Pixel 9. Sorry, I'm just making sure that my video is starting here. Okay, so we're going to jump into debunking fitness fallacies. There's nobody here yet, but that's okay. You guys are going to jump on when you hear the juicy details of everything that I'm talking about. Okay, so we are live. I see it happening. And let's do this. Debunking fitness fallacies. Okay, the first one I want to debunk because I love to debunk this one is no pain, no gain. This is such a common thing within the fitness world that there's this idea that you need to be in pain or you need to suffer in order to get gains or results from the exercise that you're doing. So it promotes the idea of pushing your body past its limits, forcing your body to do something that hurts in order to get the benefits of exercise. This is not necessary at all. So I used to subscribe to this idea back when I was first starting to exercise, back when I first became a trainer. I apologize to people that were taking my classes then because I really did think that you needed to push yourself hard, and the harder the better. And hi there, thanks for joining. That couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, when you push your body too hard and you force your body to do things that hurt, you risk getting injured, you risk burning out, you risk... hi there, thanks for joining, Charles. Thanks for joining with the pink hello hands. I'm sorry, I can't read what your name says. I'm talking about fitness fallacies today. I'm debunking fitness fallacies. And the first fitness fallacy in debunking is no pain, no gain, because I absolutely do not subscribe to the idea that you need to be in pain in order to benefit from exercise. And in fact, you might actually be shooting yourself in the foot if you push yourself too hard, because it may lead to you ultimately stopping exercise because you get injured or you burn out or you just really don't enjoy it. So it's much better to exercise in a way that is enjoyable, because you absolutely can get the benefits of exercise without suffering or pushing yourself really hard. And in fact, you'll have a better relationship with yourself, with your body, if you enjoy the movement, if you're not forcing yourself to do something that you don't enjoy and that actually causes pain. If you could imagine any other type of relationship, whether it's a relationship with a friend, with your partner, with a pet, if you were causing pain to that person or that animal, it probably wouldn't improve your relationship. So why do we think that causing pain to our bodies will improve our relationship with our body? It won't. So we want to do exercise in a way that allows us to get the benefits from exercise without pushing through pain. Hi, Giuseppe, thanks for joining from Italy. Jojo Mojo, thanks for joining. Shahin, thanks for joining. Okay, so if we let go of the idea of no pain, no gain, I want to give you a new phrase that you can use instead of no pain, no gain. And the phrase is sustainable gain without the pain. So this is something that we encourage and teach within the Kettlebell Solo membership. That's where I teach follow-along group classes and programs for all levels with kettlebells. We teach sustainable gain without the pain, because the results you want from exercise come from being consistent over a long period of time. And the best way to do that is to make your exercise program sustainable, not painful. Are you more likely to do something that's fun and enjoyable or something that's painful? You're much more likely to do the fun and enjoyable thing. So making exercise fun, enjoyable, and sustainable so you can stay consistent, whereas that's where you're actually going to see the results in the long run, the benefits that you want to see, both aesthetically, maybe like liking the way that you look and looking fitter and stronger, but also more importantly, building just physical health, building psychological health, and overall holistically being healthy as a person. Okay, so that first fitness fallacy, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain, debunked. We debunked that one. We're not using that phrase anymore. We're using sustainable gain without the pain. Okay, the next fitness fallacy I want to debunk. Well, before I do that, if you have a question about something, or if you want me to debunk a different fitness fallacy or ask me if something is true about fitness or strength training or kettlebells, drop it in the comments and I'll be happy to debunk it for you. Hi, thanks for joining all the way from India. Appreciate it. Okay, so our second fitness fallacy that we're going to debunk today is soreness is the best indicator of a good workout. Do you guys think that's true? Let me know in the comments. Is that true? Do you need to be sore to get a good workout? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why it's not true. Okay, you can still share whether you think it's true or not. Soreness, when your muscles are sore, it means that you have either damaged your muscles, literally like torn some of the muscle tissue, or your muscles have been exposed to a new stimulus that they are not used to. And your recovery determines how you will progress from that stimulus that you gave yourself. And if you continue to, make yourself more and more sore, you don't allow enough recovery, you can actually damage your muscles. That's often how you get an injury, is if you're sore and you just keep pushing and keep pushing without letting yourself recover. So if you damage your muscles more than you're able to recover from, you get injury and or fatigue, and it can be hard to remain consistent. And again, we want to be consistent over time. That's where we get the benefits. There's no real reason to push yourself so hard that you're extremely sore, in pain, hurting, or injured, because that actually impedes your ability to make forward progress. And you can make forward progress with just little doses. You don't need to push yourself as hard as you think you need in order to continue to see progress in your strength. Some of these comments are wild. Okay, so I want to reiterate, muscle soreness is not necessary to make progress. You can make progress whether you are sore or not. So again, if you get sore and you give yourself enough recovery time, you will likely make progress from it. But even if you are not sore, you can actually make progress. People often think, well, if I'm not sore, I didn't work hard enough. I'm not actually going to get a benefit. That's not true. That's just a psychological thing that we believe. For some reason, it's a story. You actually can make progress without being sore. That doesn't necessarily determine whether you're going to progress from something. You can feel stronger and fitter with doing exercise that doesn't cause you to be sore. Yeah, Samuelson Training, you should definitely do a live stream where you show what you just commented about. Okay, so a really good workout, in my opinion, leaves you either a little sore or not at all, but allows you to make progress. So it's something that you can easily recover from, and you're seeing progress. And again, that progress can be measured in different ways. It can be your actual strength, your fitness level. It can be just the feeling of ease in a workout. It could be your ability to complete a certain number of reps with good form. It could be your energy level. It could be a lot of different things. So progress can be measured in different ways, and I encourage you to measure your progress beyond just the physical, beyond just how does my body look, beyond did I lose weight. Measure it in terms of your skills. Measure it in terms of making progress towards the person that you want to become. Oh, Rick has a good one here. I'm assuming, Rick, you're asking about this one. You have to either go up in volume or weight. So you don't necessarily need to go up in volume or weight to make progress. There's different ways to make progress within your actual training session. You can go up in weight, you can go up in volume, and as you mentioned, Rick, you can increase time under tension, you can reduce your rest periods, you can increase the progression of the exercise. So you can make the exercise itself more difficult by changing the stance or changing various things about the exercise in order to make it more difficult. So there's different ways to progress that exercise, and you don't need to increase volume or weight every session. In fact, that can be counterproductive. If you try to push your progress every single session, that's again something where you're asking more of your body than likely is able to recover from. Ideally, we make little steps in progress less frequently, and we also undulate. So we may push ourselves to increase the intensity over a certain period of time, and then we back off and allow our bodies to recover before we start again. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Absolutely, Samuelson's and mastering the same exercise can help to increase, absolutely true. Rick, the angle, you can use that to progress. Yeah, okay, so let's move on to the next fitness fallacy. It kind of sounds like you're trolling, but I appreciate you adding comments to the feed. Okay, so the next fitness fallacy is muscle confusion is needed to make progress. So this is something that I think is pretty popular within the fitness world, that people think you need to always be doing something different to confuse your body to keep making progress. In many ways, this is actually the opposite of what you need to do to make progress. To make progress with a specific exercise or strengthening a certain area of your body, it actually requires a fair amount of repetition of the same thing. Because first of all, if you want to increase, say, your weight or volume in an exercise, you want to make sure that you're doing the exercise correctly, that you set a good foundation before you increase the volume or weight. So that's going to take some time of repeating and mastering the movement before you even start to progress it. So if you're just constantly doing something different, you never allow your body to build up a skill set or to really set a good foundation on top of which you can start to build that strength or fitness. So while I'm not saying it's bad to try different things, you can absolutely try different things, but if you really want to see progress, you want to do a lot of the same things so that you can actually see the progress within that same skill that you're working. If you're constantly doing something different, you never even know if you're making progress, and your body doesn't get enough time to adapt to the stimulus. So while there's benefit in providing, novel stimulus to your body in the form of different types of exercise or trying different workouts or things like that, if that's the only thing you're doing, jumping from one thing to the other, I think you're actually going to miss out on making the progress that you want to make and being able to see that progress. So you need that progressive overload within a program, within an exercise, of working that same exercise and increasing the difficulty over time and seeing the progress to it, rather than just jumping from thing to thing. Nick asked, what's a good food to eat to lose weight? Nick, you could eat any food to lose weight. Losing weight is about calories in versus calories out. Losing weight is about your stress level, your sleep, your hydration, your health of your body overall, I think also emotionally and psychologically. So it doesn't depend on one specific food. You could eat different types of food, although I will say processed food has a lot of toxic things in it. So you're going to want to avoid processed food as much as you can and to eat like real foods, like things that don't have an ingredient list. A potato, vegetables, meat, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's go on to the next fitness fallacy I want to talk about. And this one is a little bit similar to some of the things I've been talking about already, but the more exercise, the better. Who thinks in the comments that you're going to get better results the more exercise you do? Let me know. Has that worked for you? Let me know in the comments if that works for you. The more exercise, the better. So again, like with anything in life, there's a balance to be struck. If you go to the extremes of either end, it's unhealthy, right? So if you are not exercising at all and you just sit all day long and you never move your body, that's not healthy, right? If you go to the extreme and you just try to do as much exercise as you possibly can and ignore all your body's signals, that's not healthy either. As Rick said in the comments, you need rest. So that being said, I think there's some places in the middle that get a little confusing for people. So, there's a lot of people that say you should exercise, you need to exercise every day. And, well, it's good to exercise every day. It also depends, what do you mean by exercise? It depends how hard are you pushing yourself. It depends what else is going on in your life. It depends how tired are you. Some days, if you're just exhausted from whether it's something physical, whether it's something emotional, psychological, spiritual, whatever it is, there may be some days where it's better not to move much at all. Days where it's better to just rest completely. So is it always better to exercise every day, or is it always better to exercise, an exact amount of time? Oh, I need to exercise 5 days a week or 3 days a week or however many days per week. I think being rigid with how much exercise you do is unhealthy. I think it's easier to give yourself a schedule of, well, I'm just going to do this many times per week and I'm going to, stick to that no matter what. Well, guess what? Life changes. The only thing constant in life is change. Seasons of life are going to look different. So I think it's really important to be flexible and adaptable with how much exercise you do. You may go through periods of time where you're exhausted for weeks, and the best thing to do is not exercise because it adds stress to the system. There may be other times where you have so much energy, you're bursting with energy, and you want to exercise every single day and it feels great. Then maybe you do that. And maybe there's times where it's in between. So I think the most important thing is that you're flexible with it and that you learn to listen to your body's signals. What is your body saying? If your body is telling you it's exhausted, why push it through something that's going to make it more exhausting on the other end and it's going to take longer to recover? If your body is telling you it's exhausted, take a break, take a rest. You'll be better off for it in your next workout than if you force yourself to do it anyway. Absolutely, Rick said you can grow during rest time. By saying my shirt is whack, I hope you're saying how awesome my shirt is, because this is the kettle corn. It's a unicorn with kettlebells in the mane, and it is frickin' awesome. And yes, I actually sell these shirts, so if you want to get a shirt or a tank top with a kettle corn on it, let me know. I'll put it in the description later. So that's me debunking more exercise is better, right? Because more isn't necessarily better. You should find the amount of exercise that's right for you. And when people give you an exact prescription of you should always exercise this many times a week for this many minutes, you should run for the hills, because it's not realistic. That's ignoring your body's signals. It's ignoring that life changes. You should be flexible with what your exercise routine looks like. And every person is different. And at different ages, it's different. So there is no exact prescription. It would be nice if there was, but it also should be relieving, because there is no exact prescription and you can figure out what's best for your body. Okay, I'm glad you're kidding, because my shirt is frickin' awesome. You should absolutely get one. I'm gonna drop the link in the comments here so you guys can get your own, because this shirt is awesome and everyone needs to have it, and we need to spread the kettle corn out there in the world. So I need you guys to get a shirt. There's also tank tops that can fit the girls or the guys, although they are a racer back. Okay, the next fitness fallacy we're gonna go over, and this is a little bit repetitive, but I feel like it's important to put this message out there, is the harder you push yourself and the more you suffer, the better you will look and the better your results will be. Now, this one's a little confusing, because a lot of the trainers and fitness models and people you see online are pushing themselves really hard and suffering all the time, and they look awesome. So we think because they look that way, that's what you have to do to get fit. But that's not true on multiple levels. Well, first of all, how fit you want to look, how lean you want to be, has trade-offs. So if you want to be like really, really lean, especially as a woman, if you want to have a ripped six-pack and you want to have like just rippling muscles, it's going to require some sacrifices. First of all, it may mess up your hormonal health. So not all women, but many women who are ripped and extremely lean have hormonal problems or issues with their thyroid or adrenals. They have some problems because it's not necessarily healthy, especially long-term, for a woman to be super, super lean, especially if she's of childbearing age. So there are trade-offs. If you want to be really, really ripped, it may or may not work for your genetics, for your body, to be healthy being that ripped. Second of all, some of those people who look like you want to look and that are suffering really hard and pushing themselves really hard, they probably don't need to push themselves that hard. But some of them are addicted to exercise, or some of them just think that's what they need to do to maintain the look they've got because it's how they got there. And I want to emphasize that it's not necessary. As somebody who used to be in that category of had a ripped six-pack and I thought I needed to suffer and exercise more in order to look good, in order to get the results I wanted, I did that for many years. It worked at first, and over time, it then went in the opposite direction. So it caused me to gain weight. It caused me to lose strength. I got really fatigued, I got burned out. So it can do that initially, but over time, it leads to the opposite result. That now I've found on the other side of that, that I can maintain a much more toned physique and feel way healthier holistically without the suffering, without exercising as much as I can. In fact, I've gotten better results in both aesthetically and hormonally and holistically from doing less and focusing on supporting myself nutritionally in the ways that matter the most, eating plenty of protein, eating good healthy fats. That actually will get you to a better place. It may not happen as quickly if you're using a sustainable training program as if you went, balls to the wall and we're just working out constantly, because again, initially that works, but it's not a long-term solution to maintain that kind of result. So you can do the suffering thing and it will work at first, but it's not a long-term solution and it may actually damage your health. So you're better off taking a little bit of a longer path to get to the results you want, but then have a much easier time maintaining it without any damage to your health. Yes. Oh, Samuelson training. I see that you had a David Goggins style lifestyle 12 years ago, 7 days all the time, months on end, but as soon as you stopped, it was like trauma. It took a long time to recover. That's true. I definitely have a similar experience with overtraining, that it does feel like trauma in a certain way and it's taken a long time to recover. I'm still recovering from pushing my body too hard and being way too lean for way too long for my body, and that was over 10 years ago. So I'm still recovering from it now. So you just take it from somebody who's made the mistake. When you push yourself that hard, it takes way longer to recover from pushing too hard than, if you haven't pushed too hard and you want to just make some tweaks and changes, that doesn't cause damage the way that if you push yourself too hard and trying to come back from it does. Samuelson, you asked, if kettlebell didn't exist, would you have a second favorite training tool to master? I would say rings. You can see there's some rings up there on this. There's a stall bar here, which I also love, this awesome stall bar here, and rings. So I would say like rings, body weight, that type of training, stall bar. Those are some of my second favorite tools. Okay, the next fitness fallacy. You have to go to failure in order to build muscle. Let me know if you've heard this one in the comments, that you have to go to failure if you want to build muscle. So if you've ever seen bodybuilders or heard about the way that bodybuilders train, bodybuilders often go to failure. That's like what they do in their training, is they go to failure. And so that's associated, going to failure is associated with these great big muscles, because bodybuilders have great big muscles, right? And they go to failure. But it's actually useful to keep a few reps in reserve. You don't need to go to failure to build muscle. In fact, it's safer not to push yourself to failure. If you do want to build big muscles, which some people, that's their goal, training near failure is effective for that, but you don't have to go to failure to do it. So again, I think that kind of goes along with this idea that the more suffering, the better, and that if you go to failure and you push yourself just as hard as you possibly can, you're going to get better results. Not necessarily true. There's just a huge amount more of suffering. So you can opt to do that. And I think some people, honestly, I think that in some ways, for many, it's like a psychological, emotional thing, and they love the feeling of pushing themselves so hard, so close to failure, and then like the feeling afterwards of having done that. I could relate to that. I used to compete in kettlebell sport, and you were like, it's pushing yourself as hard as you can, cardiovascular, strength-wise. Like there's a level of it that feels good, and you can push yourself beyond your limits, and there's lessons you can learn from that, and you can realize your strength. So there's benefits to it that way. But generally, what I like to help people with is health for the long term, is staying healthy for life, and having done kind of the extreme side of things and seeing that that's not really healthy. There's trade-offs for pushing to the extreme. So, if you really like doing failure, you could do it every now and then. But if you don't like doing it, the good news is you don't actually have to do it to build muscle, to get stronger, and to build your fitness. I pushed too hard and now I need to change pants. I call it failure. Well, good luck with that. Good luck washing that out. Thanks for joining, Samuelson. Thanks for subscribing. See you later. Hi there, Adriano. Thanks for joining from Brazil. We're talking about fitness fallacies. Okay, we just talked about failure not being necessary in order to build strength, in order to build fitness, in order to build muscle. Okay, this next fitness fallacy, I am passionate about this one because I feel it is rampant, and that is the idea that you need to deprive yourself to lose weight, that you need to go to an extreme with your calories and eat as little as possible in order to lose weight. So I think many women struggle with this, trying to eat as few calories as possible because they think that's what's going to keep them small or help them lose weight. And we know that this isn't necessarily the case because there's many people who, chronically eat an extremely low diet and are still overweight. So sometimes. There's other times where they are seemingly eating a very low calorie diet, but they're still overweight. And part of that is that often when you eat this really low calorie diet, it's like you could sustain it. Maybe you sustain it for a certain number of days and you deprived yourself and you're so proud, and then you binge eat or you do something else because your body's extremely deprived of nutrients and you've used up all of your willpower trying to be hungry all the time and eat as little as possible. So you don't need to deprive yourself to lose weight. In fact, ideally, you want to be able to maintain a healthy weight while eating a healthy amount of calories. And this is going to be particularly relevant for like women of childbearing age. If you want to be healthy, fertile, and have your hormones in balance, you need to be giving yourself enough food. It's very difficult to eat all the nutrients your body needs in, 1,200 calories, 1,300, even like 1,500 calories, I think is quite low. So, you really don't need to deprive yourself to lose weight. Exactly, Rick said your metabolism will reset lower. Yes, your metabolism will slow down the less you eat. So ideally, you want to be able to not worry too much about calorie count and be able to eat the things you want to eat. I'm saying this within like a scope of generally, we want to eat healthy, right? You want to avoid processed foods. A lot of that stuff is just really toxic. You guys have probably seen a lot of things have come out about just how toxic our water and our food is. So ideally, if you can avoid that stuff, because that stuff is just going to, disrupt your endocrine system. It's going to just cause inflammation, a host of other problems. If you're eating real food, if you're eating real unprocessed foods, you're going to and you're eating a good amount of them, ideally, if your body's healthy, it should be able to sustain a healthy weight that way. Now, there's many other things tied into this, of course, which are like psychology and emotional pieces. So that's something that has to be addressed if somebody is chronically undereating or overeating. It's going to be really difficult to change that without looking at the psychological and emotional reasons underpinning that. Knowing for myself, I had a lot of disordered eating for many years, and it took facing some of my demons, facing some of my shadows, looking at my spiritual, emotional side of things in order to have a healthier relationship with food. So that's something that is tricky. I don't pretend to be a nutritionist. I don't give specific nutrition advice. I don't write meal plans. I don't do that. I'm not qualified to do that. I'm a trainer. I focus on the physical body. And I think it's important to look at nutrition beyond just the calories and the macros, because we can't eliminate the psychological and emotional, spiritual connection we have to food. But the good news is you do not have to deprive yourself to lose weight. It's much more realistic anyway for people to take a slow approach if they're looking for weight loss or fat loss in terms of not slashing calories down to something unrealistic, but just slowly over time, maybe taking a look at the diet and then making changes. I think also something people skip out on when they want to make changes to their body composition is they don't look honestly at what they're doing before they change it. They just start changing it. And if you just start changing it, you don't actually know if you're heading in the right direction because you don't know what you're doing now. So if you are looking to change something about your diet, I would highly, highly recommend tracking for at least 2 or 3 weeks without changing anything at all, so you can get an accurate picture of what you're doing, and try not to judge yourself. It's a difficult thing. People start tracking and they go, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that I normally eat because I'm gonna have to look at it on the tracker. Just track it all, just do it. Try not to judge yourself because you're gonna have a much more accurate picture of why you are where you are and knowing how to change it. Okay, this is how many fats I'm eating. Wow, this may be a little high. Maybe first thing I could do is I'll just cut my fats down a little bit and see what that one change makes, and make it this just step-by-step process. Okay, so if you have any questions or other potential fitness fallacies you want me to talk about, comment them below. Somebody said I weigh 70 kg, been adding 45 milliliters of olive oil to my protein shake, can't budge my weight up. Well, I think my question for you there would be why do you want to weigh more, first of all? Because sometimes we have an idea of how much we want to weigh, whether it's more or less, and that may or may not be the place that your body's healthy at. And maybe your body likes being at that weight, maybe you're an ectomorph and that's where it's, healthiest. And I would also ask, are you eating enough protein? Because I think that's going to be key. And some people just have a hard time keeping weight on, and then you have to decide how much time, effort, and resources do I want to put into trying to fight my body to weigh more, which you might want to, in which case you just know it's going to take the time, effort, and resources, or, kind of just being as healthy as you can, doing the things that you can do, and then accepting where your body falls. I think that can be a difficult one. I know it was a difficult one for me. I always felt like I wanted my body to look a certain way, and I was trying to force it to look a certain way. When I let go of trying to control what my body looked like and just focused on my health as a whole, I feel like my body actually took the shape that was healthier for it, and eventually, I like that shape because it represents me in a healthy place. So I think that's important. Okay, next fitness fallacy we're going to debunk. Burning a lot of calories in a workout is the most effective way to lose weight. Have you guys heard that one? You think that one's true? What do you think of that one? Burning a lot of calories in a workout is the most effective way to lose weight. Rick, you know all of these already. Okay, so no, it's not necessarily the most effective way to lose weight because you could burn a ton of calories in a workout. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're building muscle mass and increasing your metabolism. So there's also a difference there between more of a cardiovascular type of workout versus resistance training. You can burn a lot of calories doing cardio, but it's not necessarily building muscle. In some cases might be, breaking down your muscle, and cardio often makes you hungrier too. So then you end up often eating more to compensate. Versus if you're doing strength training, resistance training that helps you increase your muscle mass and brings your metabolism up, it also doesn't necessarily make you hungry. It might. If you're lifting heavy, it will. But certain types of strength training, you maybe are sometimes burning only 100, 200 calories. So you're not making a huge calorie burn per workout, and it's going to increase that metabolism, so you're just burning more calories at rest. And overall, that's going to be a more sustainable, again, way to lose weight or burn body fat than trying to just burn as many calories per workout. In addition to the fact that I think if you try to burn a lot of calories every workout and you try to do that a lot, again, we're bumping up on that idea of just pushing yourself really hard, using a lot of willpower in a way that is not sustainable. Working out that way is just going to tire yourself out over time. You don't want every workout to be burning 800 calories because you're going to be exhausted. So definitely want to look at resistance training, Just because it doesn't burn a ton of calories per workout doesn't mean that it's not effective. Besides, your weight loss, your fat loss is going to be more dependent on your diet than the exact type of exercise you do anyway. You could lose weight with doing any kind of exercise. It's more important what you're doing with your nutrition. Mega Prize said, I've seen this one research that muscle mass is one of the best things to stay healthy when we're older. That's why I'm trying. Yeah, it's absolutely important because we lose muscle mass as we get older, and we want to build as much as we can and then maintain that as much as we can into our older years. So good job. Keep it up. Best, I see you had a question. Any supplement for sleeping other than magnesium, melatonin? Unable to sleep properly, going on four hours for 2 months. Been this way since the new cell phone tower. I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that your sleep is disrupted. That's really unfortunate. I don't know. I don't take any supplements for sleep. I have heard magnesium can be helpful. I have heard melatonin can be helpful, but you want to be cautious with how much you take. One thing that I know can disrupt my sleep is when I look at my phone too much right before bed or my computer. I feel like the blue light plus just like the mental stimulation makes it harder for me to fall asleep. I would, if you haven't tried it, I would recommend breathing exercises like slow, relaxed nasal belly breathing to help bring your body into the parasympathetic state. Possibly you're stressed out about the fact that there's a cell phone tower there and it may be affecting your sleep, and perhaps, you know, it could be helpful for you to help regulate your system with some breathing that can help put you in more of that relaxed state, make it easier to fall asleep. Thanks for joining from Poland. Appreciate it. Best wishes to you too, and have a great day. Okay, we're going to move on to our next fitness fallacy. If you guys have other questions, drop them in the comments. Okay, the next fitness fallacy. Let me know if you've heard this one. High intensity interval training, also known as HIIT, is the best way to burn fat and get fit. Let me know what you think. Is HIIT the best way to burn fat and get fit? You guys have probably seen this if you follow any kind of fitness professional online. Many people are like, oh, all the research shows that HIIT is the best way. So HIIT, just to reiterate, that stands for high intensity interval training. People say this is the best way to burn fat. Now, I'm not here to try to refute scientific evidence because I'm sure that HIIT training can be effective, and it can be effective for certain people. Now, if you're this is my opinion on it. I see a lot of people who are doing just HIIT training, or they're always trying to take that intensity to, like, I think it gives people the idea that intense training, the more intense you're training, the better. I think it pushes people towards the idea that the more intensity, the better your results, and that that's scientifically proven. When I think the way that they're doing high intensity interval training, exactly what Rick just said, if they're doing it properly, if they're actually following the types of protocols that they're doing in those scientific studies, it's probably very different from what people are actually doing in real life. So if you're doing this high intensity interval training, like with the frequency and the rest periods that they recommend, it likely will be effective, and provided that you're getting the rest that you need, the nutrition that you need, the hydration that you need, that your body is in a place to recover well. So the first thing I want to say is many people are not in a place to recover very well. And that's not necessarily by any fault of their own. It may be societal, it may be like their job, like maybe they work nights, it may be that they have young children and they're not sleeping much. There's many different factors, but I think many people in our society who are trying to get fitter are not in a place to recover real well. Like maybe their diet isn't totally lined up. So to then add high intensity training to it, and if someone's a beginner to do high intensity training, in my opinion, bad idea. Before you move fast, you need to move slow. So if you're a beginner, high intensity interval training is not the place to start, but that may be confusing if you're seeing messaging that that's the most effective way. You're increasing your injury risk by trying to go to intensity without building a foundation. The foundation is how you earn the right to push your intensity, to push your weight, to push your volume. but specifically we're talking about the intensity. You earn that right by setting a foundation to ensure that you're ready to do that, to ensure you have the cardiovascular and the strength base to do it. So unfortunately, I think the idea of HIIT being most effective pushes people towards the idea of intense all the time, because many people, again, subscribe to the idea of more exercise is better, so they may be exercising 5 to 7 times a week. And if all of that is high intensity interval training, first of all, I don't think that's how it's recommended in the studies. And second of all, that's just way too much and it's unsustainable again. So while I think there can be benefits to HIIT, I think that most people could benefit more from a gentle, sustainable, foundational training program, which is more like strength training, slower paced, where you're focusing on the quality of movement, you're focusing on getting to know your body, mind-muscle connection, establishing, that solid base and foundation. And if you want to do HIIT training later, cool. And you don't need to do it all the time. I think if you did HIIT training once a month, twice a month, you'd probably get more benefit from it than trying to do it 5 times a week. So HIIT training, not necessarily the best way. Hello from the International Space Station. Hi, thanks for joining. Okay, moving on to the next fitness fallacy we're going to debunk here. And this, I kind of touched on this just now, but moving faster burns more calories and will get better results. Have you guys heard that one? What do you think of that? Do you think moving faster is better? Does it burn more calories? Does it get you to your goals faster? Thanks for joining, Rick. You had some great comments. See you later. Okay, so does moving faster burn more calories and get better results? Well, as you guys know, I'm debunking fitness fallacies, so I don't think so. No, not necessarily. So again, before you move fast, before you earn the right to move fast, you need to move slow. You need to set a foundation. So it's not, and as we mentioned before, just burning more calories in a workout, that isn't the way, because it's unsustainable to think of burning a ton of calories, trying to rush yourself and to move quick or to move faster than you're ready for is a recipe to get injured or to set yourself back and get in the way of your consistency. And especially if you're first starting exercise, getting consistent, whether that's just 1 time a week, long term, whether that's multiple times per week, long term, is more important than the exact exercise you do. So you want to make whatever you do sustainable. If you try to move fast before you're ready, that isn't going to be sustainable. You need to set a foundation. You need to earn it. Faster movement is generally riskier, so you need to make sure that your body's ready for it before you do it. And sometimes the slow workout could actually work your muscles more or burn more calories because there's more intensity to that. The time under tension works your body more, so it isn't necessarily better for a workout to be fast. Fast workouts are great if you're prepared for them. They're also not necessary for general health and fitness. You can get plenty from slower speed and foundational workouts. Thanks, I'm glad you like my cat tree. There's no cat on it this time on my last live. You guys should go look. My cat was sitting up there during the live. I didn't even tell him to do that. He just sat up there and was real cute. So go look at my last live. That was the best type of exercise to burn fat, and you'll see my cat hanging out up there. That's his favorite spot. He's like a little king of the mountain. Do you guys have any questions about the fitness fallacies that I debunked so far? Or do you have questions about fitness ideas that are out there and whether or not they are true or a fallacy? If you have any questions, drop those in the comments and I will elaborate on them for you. Thinking if I can see if I can think of any other ones that I want to address for you guys here. I think another one that's pretty common is the measure of progress is how much weight you lose or how much body fat you burn or how much muscle you gain. So basing your progress on aesthetic, physical results only. And it's okay if you have goals that you want to achieve with your aesthetics. And I believe it's important to measure your progress in other ways besides the aesthetic goal. Because first of all, if you're really focusing on your health holistically, your body may not necessarily take the aesthetic you thought you wanted it to. And then you have to consider what's more important, that I look a certain way or that I'm well-rounded and healthy. My opinion, well-rounded and healthy all day, every day. I don't care as much about the aesthetics. I like to look fit and strong, and I would rather be healthy all around, have my hormones be healthy, be emotionally and psychologically, spiritually healthy, than to neglect those things in order to look a certain way. So I think it's important to measure your progress in other ways, and you can measure your progress with your strength, with your ability to complete a skill well, with your mind-muscle connection, with your mind or with your body awareness, how you're growing and how to use your different muscles in your body, how to execute an exercise correctly, how confident you feel, your energy, the ease of which you're able to get through a workout, how well you're sleeping at night, how few injuries you've gotten, how you're able to do certain activities of daily living with more ease or avoiding injuries doing those things, feeling stronger with those things, improving other things in your life due to the training you're doing. So that's one that I think we just need to debunk and get out of here, is that progress is just based on weight loss or burning fat. There's so many other ways that you can measure your progress. Okay, so it looks like we got no other questions here, unless anybody else has other questions or fitness ideas you want me to debunk. Last call. Okay, well, we're going to end it there. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you have other fitness fallacies you want me to debunk, leave them in the comments, or if you have suggestions for future lives, let me know, and thanks for joining me today.